Valorant offers a variety of agents to choose from, which could make choosing the right agent to play as a little difficult. Out of the 12 playable agents, only one is shrouded in a cloud of darkness, and that's Omen. Welcome back to another video, guys. It's Jess for Top Viral Gaming, and today we're bringing you our ultimate Omen guide. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications by clicking or tapping that bell. We will be going into detail about Omen's abilities and even giving you some advanced tips and tricks to use when playing as this terrifying agent. Now, when playing as Omen, the name of the game is Deception and Confusion, as most of his skill set pushes towards that playstyle. Omen is what's considered a control type of agent, because he's great in a support type of role. Controller agents can block off critical points and control a battlefield with the abilities they're given. Let's take a look at these abilities now. Paranoia. Paranoia is the first ability that we'll take a look at. Omen shoots a high-speed projectile, temporarily blinding enemies that get hit with this ability. The big pro to this ability is that it can go through walls and hit enemies that are far away. However, the downside to this ability is that there's a warning indicator on the enemy's HUD, but they won't be able to tell where it's coming from exactly. It's good to keep in mind the wind-up time and travel time when using this ability. Don't peek right away when an enemy is hit, because the general reaction when being hit by this ability is to straight out shoot where you saw this ability come from. Now, use that to your advantage. This ability is best used in long corridors or where you usually see enemies waiting and/or critical points on the map to prevent enemies from approaching your site. It can also be used when rotation finally happens. In a defensive setting, you'd want to use this to catch enemies off guard and pick them off one by one. Also, in the defensive setting, you can make enemies think you're coming from one area while appearing out of somewhere else. This ability is usually used as an initiator to quickly stop enemies in their tracks and at the same time giving you time to get in for the kill. Here are some other things to keep in mind when using this ability. The maximum distance is around 30 meters. The wind-up time is around a second long, and when winding up, your movement speed will gradually decrease. Another of Omen's abilities is Shrouded Step, which lets you teleport to a location you marked. This ability depends on line of sight and is a short-range teleportation skill, yet it offers so much utility. This ability is one of the main abilities you'd see Omen mains use, whether it's to counteract Sova's or Cypher's ability to know where an enemy's location is, or to get to high places to catch an enemy off guard. The main way that you'd want to use this ability on its own is to travel past a doorway to confuse enemies, whether you're on the left or the right side of the doorway. Or another way to use this is like what I mentioned earlier. Climb to otherwise impossible to reach ledges to pick off enemies one by one. A big downside to this ability is the noise indication that it gives when used and the 2-second animation that the ability triggers, which makes you vulnerable to enemy fire. But if your enemy is far enough for the sound to go unheard, and as long as you remain unseen, you can travel across watched areas without your enemy knowing where you are. You can catch them off guard with this and pop out of somewhere they're not expecting, giving you that time to quickly pick them off. One big way to use this ability is on the map Bind, where teleporters are located. You can confuse enemies by faking your teleporting by activating this ability just as you're entering a portal. This ability can be used in conjunction with most of Omen's other abilities to create even more chaos on the battlefield. If you're an Omen main watching this video, or even if you just have respect for how strong of an agent Omen is, give this video a like. Actually, let us know in the comments, do you play as Omen? Have you tried playing as him? Now let's go over some more of Omen's abilities. Dark Cover. This is Omen's signature ability, which lets you place a cloud of smoke to reduce enemy visibility for an adequate amount of time. This is considered by many to be the best and biggest smoke in the game, and the best part is that you get to control how high and how far you want these smokes to be. These smokes fall slowly to the ground as well, and you want that to happen so that you'll be able to see the lower body of an enemy to determine where they'll be within the smoke. Visibility won't be an issue for you because Omen's vision won't be impaired in the smoke, unlike other smokes in the game. You can use this to your advantage a lot. You can actually push an aggressive play here by inciting a 1v1 battle in these smokes against an enemy agent. You could put these smokes in a corridor that you would usually see an enemy agent pass, and you can set one of these down as they're crossing and pick them off within the smoke. You can use these as a distraction or to help your teammates out while defusing the spike or planting it. These smokes can also be set within 80 meters, which is enough to cross an entire map, which allows you to have a global impact on the map. A common way to use this ability is to pair it with Shrouded Step to teleport within the smokes that you put down to obscure your teleport, or to confuse your opponent and make them think that you teleported behind them. Like I said, mind games are key with this agent. And don't worry about running out of amount of times you can use this ability. You get 2 charges with this ability in every round, and they regenerate every 3 seconds, so don't worry about it being frugal, but also try not to be too wasteful. From the Shadows. This is Omen's ultimate ability, and much like Shrouded Step, this lets you teleport. But unlike Shrouded Step, this ultimate lets you teleport across the entire map. The ultimate does have some downsides, such as the wind-up time being so long. You're very vulnerable since you cannot move when you're appearing on the other side, and if you're shot when you're appearing in the place you've teleported to, you'll be shot right back to where you were. But you can start moving as soon as you reform. The other downside to Omen's ultimate is that it has a loud noise when activated, and an indicator lets enemies know you've used the ability, making them aware of a teleport, but not to the exact coordinates of where you're teleporting to. But enough about the cons, let's look at the pros. Like I mentioned a moment ago, you can teleport anywhere. The utility for this ability is amazing. You can use it to distract, to initiate, to push back the enemy, forcing them to go on the defensive. This ability almost does it all. To make this ability all the more deadly, pair it with Dark Cover for safety, or for creating a lot of chaos, making it so where you're teleporting becomes unpredictable. Before we go on, we want to thank you for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and click or tap that bell to get notified about our latest videos. Also, hit that like button. This lets us know that you want to see more content just like this. Advanced techniques. One way to use From the Shadows is to be able to split up a team by making them think you're heading to one side, but then teleporting to another. A great way to put this into practice is by letting yourself be seen carrying the spike heading to one site, then quickly teleporting. Whether you choose to go to the other site or not, the indication for the enemies will be all the same, forcing them to split up. The main takeaway here is that the opposing team will be split, so you can sneak around picking them off one by one, or plant the spike when they're scrambling to look for you. Remember though, before teleporting, put your primary weapon in hand. Right as you appear, you can instantly move, so it'll be handy to have your primary weapon in hand to quickly gain some kills. Another important technique is what the Valorant community likes to call smoke hopping. Although we covered a bit of this before with Omen's From the Shadows ability, let's cover it in a little more detail here. Smoke hopping is going into one of your smokes and immediately teleporting within it. The sound indicators should be enough to fully confuse your enemies, if not make them scramble in a panic looking for you in the smoke. The way I like to use this is by teleporting outside the area that's affected by the smoke and re-entering in a different area solely to confuse and use that time that I'm repositioning to eliminate any enemy agents nearby. When playing as Omen, you need to get used to faking your teleports. When you use your abilities, there will always be an indication to opponents, but they won't know where you've gone exactly. Not unless you teleport right in front of them, which is just a wow moment. But it will happen. Use this to your advantage. We're not suggesting to always go around faking your teleports, but just know when to use it as a distraction. Usually when you initiate a point, you can teleport behind them or make it seem like you've teleported behind them to catch them off guard. A great way to use your teleport is when you've lured some enemies into a place where you've made them think you're cornered when in fact you've just rounded them up for a quick kill. Omen is a good solo fragger, but don't forget to contribute to your team as well. Omen can be both a team player and a solo player if you play your cards right and are skilled enough to use him. Don't forget to use Dark Cover as a support ability to your team. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments down below if these tips and tricks have helped you and your game. Check out our other videos and be sure to subscribe and turn on that bell to be notified about our latest videos.